What is the point of playing Fire Emblem Heroes if you aren't playing with your favorites? So in today's video, instead of focusing on the meta or power, I'm going to be discussing my top 10 favorite units of Generation 6. Now generations can be a bit confusing, so to clarify, this will be heroes who released from Choose Your Legends 5, which included Brave Marianne and Erica, until the Thief banner that included Duo Nina. Just a reminder, this is completely based off my own taste and opinions. This list will consist of my favorite heroes based off art, gameplay, animations, and of course characters. So let's get started with number 10. Now I'm sure none of you expected this, but number 10 is going to be Duo Ike. That's right, my favorite character in Fire Emblem, and the only hero I truly wail for in this generation, but he's only coming in at number 10. While I absolutely do love Ike, I have to admit that this isn't even close to my favorite Ike in the game. I was honestly pretty disappointed when I saw this was my long-awaited Duo Ike. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the child aesthetics, the fact that he's another red sword infantry, and that his preference skill is still Radiant Ether. A preference skill that released in 2018, especially when you compare it to the preference skills nowadays like Lunar Embrace or Verdict of Decay. Now there are some things I love about Duo Ike, outside the fact that he is Ike. I think his weapon, Sturdy Warsword, has some very cool effects, like the cooldown reduction before the first attack, and I also love how powerful his duo skill can be in game modes like Summoner Duels. He's an exceptionally powerful Godsword unit, and he's a ton of fun to play with, especially with the player phase builds. But I'd be lying if I didn't say he made this list due to being Ike more than anything else. Atri was a character I never thought I would like. I didn't care for her at all throughout the story, but once I pulled her, everything changed. Atri is way too much fun to use. The combination of being a flying mage and having Kanto just makes Atri super mobile. She feels like Superman flying around, melting people with his heat vision, then flying away. Her preference B skill, Divine Reincarnation, makes her deceptively tanky, and also allows her to pack a big punch. The beginning of Summoner Duels was a ton of fun, largely due to how much work Atri could put in dismantling the enemy team. Even though Kanto Control has put a hamper on Atri in SD, I still enjoy her a ton, and she's easily one of my favorite legendaries to come out this version. Yuri was another character I wasn't particularly attached to, but his implementation into Fae is just amazing. He lives up to the Trickster class perfectly from 3 houses. The combination of a 3 movement ranged unit and permanent Kanto 2 makes Yuri into one of the most mobile heroes in the entire game. And when you combine ultra mobility with easy access to high cooldown specials, you get one of the most deadly units in the game. Yuri is super fun to use in every game mode, from Ether Raids with AoE specials to Lethality Yuri in Summoner Duels. Just like Atri, Kanto Control has made Yuri a bit less fun, but even then, he still can do some unpredictable plays with foul play. My second favorite mythic of the year is going to be Thor. The second I saw Thor, I knew she was going to be special. First, her art is great. It really evokes the feeling of a badass god. Then when you look at her kit, she is literally the god of Gale Force. And as a massive Gale Force fan, she's everything I could have wanted and more. Back in the day, Gale Force was a nightmare due to the million calculations you had to do for heavy blade checks and then Wings of Mercy. But now with Thor, she can not only fulfill the initiation role, but also remove all the blade checks. For me, Gale Force is the most satisfying strategy. Every time you figure out how to crack a defense team, it's just the best feeling. And that makes Thor one of the most satisfying mythics in the game. The only thing I've wanted for Dimitri is to finally have a non-Lance ult. And we finally got that this year, and so much more. Summer Dimitri is not only ridiculously ripped, I mean look at those abs, but he's also ridiculously powerful. Giving a cavalry unit a brave effect and atrocity is just unfair. It's way too much fun to run around melting enemies, and the best part is he debuffs the rest of the enemy team afterwards with his Omni Smoke. Summer Dimitri is just perfect, and I couldn't be happier with Assault. Roy is the original character who got me to play Fire Emblem. His introduction into Smash got me interested in the series, and the rest is history. Unfortunately, Fire Emblem Heroes has not treated Roy the best over the years. So when we finally got a new Roy ult, I was a bit nervous. But all of that blew away the second I saw his art. Harmonic Roy has some of my favorite art in the game, drawn by my favorite artist, Wada Sachiko. The combination of Eliwood and Roy together is also the perfect matchup. It brought a tear to my eye seeing them together. The best part is that this is the first Roy ult in a long time that Roy felt honestly powerful. He got an actually good preference skill, a powerful preference weapon, and a true damage nuke for a duo button. I really can't explain how happy this ult made me, especially after seeing how bad Legendary Roy was treated. My favorite mythic of the year is going to be Ashe. Ashe's design is just chef's kiss perfect. She's exactly my type. Everything from her outfit to her hair color to her skin color, it's all stunning. The best part is that Ashe is as good as she looks. Her preference weapon and preference skill make her into one of the most versatile heroes in the entire game. while also offering some of the best support. Ashe is just one of those units who is good in every game mode and can fit into almost any strategy. I especially love using her in summoner duels, where she can be tanky enough to act as a front liner and a springboard for your other units so they can warp into the enemy team's face. I hope that next book's mythic is half as perfect as Ashe is. Coming in at number 3 is Summer Altina. Yeah, I know, technically it's Elgard, but this is my favorite character tier list, so I'm going to call her Altina. Summer Altina is one of the most fun units added to the game. She has all the unique fun shenanigans that Fallen Elgard had when it came to Gale Force, but she just does it way better. She's also a much better engagement unit, though that is largely due to one of my favorite new skills, Assault Troop. Being able to charge 3 spaces is one of the coolest and powerful effects added to Fire Emblem Heroes, especially when you consider it's on an armor unit, who is typically hamstringed by their movement. Summer Altina is just the ultimate Gale Force unit. She can easily kill 3 enemies, or she can even jump in, kill 2 enemies, then warp out with a pivot. Who knew that Gale Force and Hit and Run could become one strategy, and take full advantage of the safety fence? She's also an amazing far-save tank who can put in a ton of work. All of that is great, but we haven't even talked about the great art by Kakage. Altina and Elgard look great, and so happy. I love the ab window on Altina's swimsuit. She looks the perfect amount of sexy and badass. My second favorite hero of Generation 7 is going to be Brave Marianne. Marianne was my second favorite female character from 3 houses, and I was looking forward to how her Brave version would be implemented, but I never expected it to get such a unique and powerful hero. Brave Marianne's art is good and bad. I love the base art and the damaged art, but I'm not the biggest fan of the attack or special art. The pose looks a bit uncomfortable, though the beast in her special art is super badass. One of the big things I wanted was a Beast Marianne, but getting the Beast Tome animation was a great compromise. What really makes me love Brave Marianne is her unique role as a combat dancer. Her tome gives her a ton of power and survivability, which makes her great in combat. But her preference special, Requiem Dance, is what really makes her cool. The ability to do combat normally, but dance an ally is such a cool effect. I love how well it works in Gale Force strats, which tend to be my favorite strategies. I also love how it gets around the duo's hindrance, so I don't have to worry about taking out duo units or the duo's hindrance. And of course, I just love how Marianne can carve through some of the more difficult enemies to kill. She is really just a fun hero to play with, and I love how much thought and planning it takes to make full use of her. Now before we get to number 1, I want to do 2 quick honorable mentions. At number 12, I have Hatari Nyla. I love Nyla. She's a wolf, my favorite animal, a badass, my favorite type of person, and sexy. Nyla just doesn't know how not to win. Hatari Nyla's art is just wow. I don't know how else to describe it. And as a combat unit, she's super fun to play with, especially as a Gravity Gale Force unit. She can just jump in, kill some enemies, and pin the rest down, while she walks away with her built-in Kanto. What else is there to say? She's just amazing. At number 11, we have another beast, but this time the beast daddy himself, Asker. Asker is such a fun character. His personality is upbeat and friendly, his art is amazing, and he's super fun to use. His true defense makes him a premier frontliner, and his support allows for all kinds of cool strategies, from Gale Force to pre-charged AoEs, to even charging up defensive specials on your save tanks. Asker is just like Ashe in that he is extremely versatile, while also being a real powerhouse himself. And with that, we have finally reached my favorite hero of Generation 6, and it's going to be the one and only Ascended Joshua. For over a decade, Joshua was by far my favorite character. I loved everything about him in Sacred Stones, from him being a secret prince to his flirty and playful personality. So when Faye came out, I saved a ton of orbs for when Joshua would get added. Then he came out as a free unit, and he seemed good, but not great. I wasn't a real big fan of his art, and his refine was honestly underwhelming. Summer Joshua looked great, but once again, he wasn't a phenomenal unit. Good, but not great. Then we finally got Ascended Joshua. This hero was everything I could have possibly wanted for Joshua and more. First, his art is stunning. The design of his outfit screams Johanna. The outfit is so perfectly designed. The colors go so well together and accentuate all the best parts of the outfit. I never knew Joshua could look this good. As a unit, Joshua is amazing too. His weapon is so unique compared to any other. He can get fire sweep or true damage, depending from what angle he engages from, which is such a cool effect. He also works great with lethality, which lets him be a premier nuke in the meta. The last thing that really made me love this hero the most is how well they take advantage of the Ascended concept. This is Joshua who has become the King of Johanna. This is a much more mature and responsible Joshua, who has to take into account the well-being of his country. It's so amazing that Fire Emblem Heroes is able to expand on the story of Sacred Stones in this way, and give the players a chance to explore more of Joshua's character. Honestly, I wish every Ascended hero could be more like Joshua. Well, those are my favorite heroes of Generation 6. What do you think of my taste? Did any of the heroes who made the list surprise you? Or did any of the rankings catch you off guard? Also, I'd love to hear about your favorite heroes from Generation 6 as well. Who was the hero who made you throw all your orbs at the banner, or maybe even your wallet? Make sure to drop a comment down below letting me know. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and keeps the content coming out. And if you're interested in my hottest takes, follow me over on Twitter. This has been Oblivion, and I'll catch you all later with more Fire Emblem Heroes.